Hey guys, Burmese pythons, common plecos, James Corden, the nuclear bomb. What do they all have in common? Correct, they're invasive species, meaning they arrive in a foreign land with nefarious intent and proceed to ruin the environment and kill the native population. This video is going to be about one such invasive species, a quaint little plant called Phragmites, or the common reed. And despite its relative obscurity in the general population, it is quite possibly one of the worst invasive plants in the USA. And funny thing, the existence of this plant as well as the idea for this entire video was revealed to me thanks to my good friend, Minecraft YouTuber, government-funded scientist, and avid tax evader of Kentucky, Paladin Ryan. That part about him being a government-funded scientist is actually somewhat true. He does work as an environmental scientist, and no joke, part of his job is actually working to control this plant. His help with this video was honestly immense, so go and show him some support and subscribe to his channel. And then bully him into making a video about the history of Minecraft plants. Okay, right, intro's out the way, so let's go over the basics of what is Phragmite, and you may think that's going to be pretty simple. It's kind of not actually, because there are actually two species of Phragmites that we need to talk about. First we have Phragmites americanus, which is found in, of course, America. It is a native plant of the continent's wetlands and has been for thousands of years. Now this version is our noble, respected member of the ecosystem. Yeah, it does grow pretty big, up to 7 feet tall, but it doesn't use this size to bully everything smaller than it. Instead, it just chooses to form small groups with its friends, and these clusters provide shelter and food for various organisms. And that's all well and good. It means it's not going to be overbearing on the environment or anything like that, but uh-oh, who's that arriving sometime in the 1800s? Why, it's our cousin, Phragmites australis, hailing from, that's right, Europe. Now this subspecies of Phragmites is a bastard. It grows over twice the size, up to 20 feet tall, and has no concept of personal space, spreading over entire shorelines in massive groups. On top of that, it is way more resilient to pathogens to the point it barely reacts, meaning that it won't die off as easily. It creates larger leaves that, in combination with its height, block out the sun for anything they grow over, can move further inland to take over more area, and has roots which are larger than those of a 100-year-old tree, making them incredibly sturdy and hard to remove. So while our humble, peace-loving American Phragmites is just trying to do its job, taking care of his home like a good plant, this warmongering, colonizing douchebag of a European plant, its own brother mind you, is causing an absolute mess, all the while dragging the entire name of Phragmites through the mud, because it's the biggest and the baddest one, and therefore gets all the attention. Now we know what it is and how it operates, so let's answer the next question. What's the damage? And while I don't have any straight numbers of how much area it covers or any list of species it's caused the extinction of, we do still have some clear evidence of its destructive power. Like I said before, it's a lot sturdier and more resilient to diseases, meaning it can outlast any of its competition easier. But as you can guess, the biggest threat this thing poses is due to the large size it grows and the immense amount of area it covers. Not too dissimilar to another famous invasive plant, kudzu, Phragmites has a nasty habit of burying any other plant, like cattail for example, beneath it. Boring them, if you will, denying them precious sunlight and causing them to die out. And while sources do vary, and I'm skeptical if this is true, but apparently not a lot of stuff actually eats it. So this European plant kills all of the useful things, while not being useful at all. Also, to add insult to injury, it grows so densely that animals can't even use it as a proper habitat. Meanwhile as well, the reeds above aren't suitable for birds to make their nests in. A fact made worse as the previously mentioned cattails that are being killed by the Phragmites are in fact necessary for a lot of birds to make their nests. However, the worst thing of all is that this is happening in the wetlands, which is a big problem. You don't fuck with wetlands. Like, for example, if a Californian forest is a strapping, healthy 20-year-old man who just so happens to always be covered in lighter fluid, then the wetlands are a 1-month infant on life support. You look at them the wrong way and they'll die. And the overpopulation of these reeds, as well as killing all of the biodiversity, literally drain the wetlands of water. Yeah, they take the wet out of the lands, and now it's just lands. It should also be noted, if I haven't already, that this reed grows insanely fast, up to 3 inches a day fast. So all of that above stuff that it's doing in record times. Basically, this has resulted in Phragmites being a kill-on-site plant whenever it arrives in any location. However, fun fact, in research for this video, I actually found one place where the abundance of Phragmites australis is actually considered somewhat beneficial, and that was along the coastline of Louisiana. Here is located the largest gathering of Phragmites in the entire continent, just reeds and reeds for as far as the eye can see. Now, if you know anything about Louisiana, it's the fact it has a love-hate relationship with water, in that the water hates it and people love to build in stupid places. Parts of it are quite literally sinking into the sea. However, the roots of the Phragmites have actually been crucial in slowing this down. Because they're so massive and there's so many of them, they've helped in stabilizing the shoreline and helping to curb stomp its erosion. Now, personally, I'm of the mind that if you build your city below sea level in what is essentially a bowl next to the sea, you kind of deserve whatever's coming to you, but human rights and moral obligations tend to disagree. So I guess, yes, here, Phragmites is in fact good. Well done, we're all proud of you. Now let's talk about how to kill it. So you've got your standard stuff like mowing it through the work of government-sanctioned mowing efforts, or it can be eaten by farm animals in government-sanctioned farm animal events, or it can be poisoned in what is known as a fun night out. But let's not beat around the Phragmites bush. Can't we just kill it with fire? Go full caveman brain? It's a plant. Plants burn. What's the issue? Here's the issues. Firstly, wet lands and aquatic plant. That poses a bit of a challenge. But also, and actually seriously, do you remember those roots that are bigger and grow larger than a 100-year-old trees? Well, they have this funny habit of being underground. So you burn down everything above ground, all of the reeds and whatnot. Well, the roots are still there and you just brought the fire, so all they're going to be thinking is, it's time to cook. Meaning, that's right, in just a few short days, more yummy Phragmites for us to enjoy. Hey, don't let those government-funded scientists tell you they don't have any natural predators, they just want it all for themselves. Oh my god, he's transitioning, isn't he? Yup, and you're transitioning with me. So there is one more solution that you could class as more permanent and long-lasting, a final solution, one might say. And that's to introduce a natural predator of the Phragmites into the ecosystem. For example, some sources say grass carp eat the saplings, so theoretically that could work. Counter-argument, let me give you a short list of foreign species introduced to America for one specific reason that proceeded to cause a bit of an oopsie for the environment. Yeah, straight up, it's just not the best idea to do that. In fact, it's an awful idea, and I'm ashamed you thought it was a good idea. Sad to say, but similar to a lot of other invasive species, Phragmites is more than likely here to stay. Yes, we can try our best to cull it back, reducing its numbers and just making it less of a nuisance for everyone else, but at the end of the day, it's gonna always remain. It is expected at some point in the future the environment might be able to adapt to Phragmites, but again, similar to a lot of other invasive species, we'll probably end up losing a lot of native ones along the way. So that was a brief yet hopefully entertaining look into the lives of Phragmites, and yes, I did know how to pronounce it correctly, I just chose not to. The funny thing is, this is going to be one of the very few videos made about this plant outside of the scientific community, despite the fact that, again, it is one of the most destructive invasive plants in the whole of the US. It just seems to be unreported in general, but I do have a theory on why that might be, and it's because of the wetlands themselves. Straight up, the wetlands just have the worst PR imaginable. The only ones I can think of that come close are Hitler's and P. Diddy's. Think about it, what game has a pleasant wetlands area? Hell, what game doesn't have a wetlands area that is just a tour de force of a torture journey, causing the players slow movements, poison damage, and some of the worst enemies ever imagined into a game? Do not fucking lie to me, none of y'all chose to build your homestead in the swamps of Morphle. That's just a fact. Hell, the only time I've ever seen the internet give the slightest amount of a shit about a wetlands was when Onision was illegally destroying one. Jesus Christ, how many years ago was that now? They don't get a lot of love, and that's really sad. The wetlands, not Onision. But maybe one day soon, that can all change. As we know, wetlands and swamps are not too dissimilar, and there's one swamp in particular that's very much loved, and it's coming back to us soon, baby! And oh boy, it's looking better than ever before. You wanna know what's even better than this? Cats. And you wanna know what's better than cats? This video I made about the history of Parliament's cats throughout the ages. So if you've ever been interested about the heritage of Larry the Downing Street cat, go and click on this and give it a watch. And finally, I want to give a massive shout out to all of my Patreon supporters, as well as the new channel member. Look at this guy, a trendsetter, a legend, better than anything else on this world, some might say. And if you want to join him, it's pretty easy, just click the join button down below, and if you have any spare change, please do consider supporting me. Well, that should be about everything. Thanks for watching, have a fantastic day, lads and ladies, I'll see you all later, bye bye.